Now that I have my fabric on grain, it's time to put my pattern onto my fabric, pin it down, and cut it out. A couple of things I need to do first are, one, make sure I've folded my fabric in half so that these two selvages line up here. And I'm going to line them up, make sure the edges are good, and I'm going to make sure there's no wrinkles anywhere in between my layers. Make sure it's still lined up together with the selvages down here, all the way down. Once my fabric is folded, I'm going to look at my fabric and decide if it's a directional print or not. What that means is, does it matter which way I put my pattern on here? Is there something that needs to be right side up when it hangs on my body, or does it not matter at all? For example, on this, it does matter. These hot air balloons, they float one direction. This is the top, this is the bottom, and they're all faced the same way, with this end of the fabric being the bottom and that end being the top. When I put my pattern pieces on, I need to make sure that I have both of my pattern pieces lined up so that the top is at the top of the pattern piece each time. Here's an example of omnidirectional, where it doesn't matter. I've got these cute little eggs where the smiley face goes either direction, so it doesn't matter if I put fabric this way or this way. Same goes with the pancakes and everything. So for this fabric, it would not matter which direction I put my pattern piece. Solid color fabrics, doesn't matter either. So what I'm going to do is, with my pattern pieces, I'm going to look at the pattern piece. The wording on here usually denotes that this is right side up and this is the bottom, because it's the way you read it. So just look at your pattern. The words are right side up. Please note on this, this is also the top of your pajama pants. This is the crotch seam. And down here's the bottom of the pant leg. So what I'm going to do is I need to make sure both of these are right side up. If this one was turned this way, the back of my pajama pants, because this is the back piece, would have all the hot air balloons upside down. The front of the pajama pants would have all the air balloons right side up. I want them right side up, so I'm just going to turn both of them so they are right side up, and then I can pin and put them down. When you pin fabric or patterns to fabric, there's a couple things to know. Thing one to know is that you need to make sure this grain line is absolutely parallel to either the fold or the selvage, because the fold should be parallel to your selvage. To do that, I like to take my pin here and I just stick it. If I had carpet, I'd go straight up now. Just stick it at the top here so I can pivot this as needed. And then what I do is I'm literally going to measure from this edge of the fabric to this edge of to the line on this end of the arrow. And the arrow at this end is 9 7/8 of an inch from the edge of the selvage. I'm going to come down to this end of the arrow. From the same part on the edge of the selvage, I'm going to measure in, and I'm sitting at 9 3/4, super close eyeline. So I'll just tilt this, pivot it down, so now it's at 9 7/8. And I'm going to come back here, just double check, make sure this end didn't move. And it did move a little bit. So I'm just going to make sure it is 100% accurate. Because the more precise you can be, the better. 9 7/8. 9 3/4. Woo! Nine 7/8. 9 7/8. If my grain line is parallel, that is what's going to keep the seams of my pants on the sides instead of locking around to the front. When we pin pattern pieces, we're going to pin through the pattern and both layers of the fabric. By the way, your pattern says cut 2. That is how come the fabric is folded, so when we cut, we get 2. I'm going to take my pin and I'm going to point it toward the edge of the fabric, or the pattern, and I'm just going to go down into the pattern, down through the fabric, up through the pattern and fabric again, so the point points toward the edge, without going off, because I can't cut through it. Good rule of thumb is about a hand's width apart is a good distance to put your pins. If you have a corner, just go diagonally into the corner so the point goes to the corner and keeps that corner nice and stable. Also, you have notches. You need to cut them outwards of the fabric. I like to put a pin at the notch, actually sticking out past the edge of the pattern, so that I know I can't cut the pin. Oh wait, there's a notch there. That's come I put that there. And then you just work your way around the whole entire pattern piece. There we go. Pattern piece 1, done. Now I need to do pattern piece 2. So I'm going to repeat the process. Double check, make sure you don't hang off the edge of the top or the bottom. I'm going to put my pin so it doesn't move. From the edge of my fabric, I'm sitting at 7 7/8 on this one. Doesn't matter if it's the same or not. So I'm going to go 6 1/2. I need to be 7 7/8. Woo! There we go, 7 7/8, double check. Still 7 7/8, so I'm good to pin. Make sure your pattern does not bubble as you go. It stays nice and flat with your fabric on the table. There we go. At this point, you must come and get me, double check your grain line, because I need to pass off your grain line to make sure your pattern is actually put on this accurately, so that you'll be able to get full points. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you've got your green grading sheet. You're going to come and get me, make sure you have a tape measure. And I actually will just go, oop. Oh, perfect, that one lines up great. Double check this one. This one lines up great. And then on your grade sheet here where it says teacher signature, I will sign it. You need to make sure your name is here, so if this paper gets lost from you, I can get it back to you. I cannot sign this paper after you've cut. There's no way to glue the selvage back on to make sure you actually had it on green. If you lose this paper, I have, 100 students right now sewing. I will not remember if I signed off yours or not. So do not lose this paper. Make sure your name's on it, so if it does get lost from you, I can get it back to you. So that you can get these 5 points, which if are not checked off, you will not be able to make back ever. Sorry.